Pretty good at remembering faces.
Are you? Do you remember Hattie McCourt's face?
Who?
She was a girl Dutch Vanderlyn shot in the head on that raid on the ferry a few years back. Same one you got shot on. Pretty girl, until her eye was hanging out by a thread of tendon and her brain was plastered over a wall.
And this is one of the biggest questions that hopefully is answered within Red Dead Redemption 2. Who is Heidi McCourt and what exactly happened during that failed robbery of 1906? But what is going on, Outlaws? Once again, Michael or Legacy Kill HD back with another Red Dead Redemption 2 video for you. And admittingly, following the first proper Red Dead Redemption 2 story trailer, there is a lot of crazy theories going around, and today I am going to be making sense of this. Now, with the game being a prequel, a lot of questions are arising based on the plot of Red Dead Redemption, such as why is Arthur not mentioned, who is Heidi McCourt, and when does Red Dead Redemption 2 specifically take place? Well, today we are going to be going through a lot of these questions and discuss some of the biggest secrets that may have been confirmed by Arthur Morgan's introduction. But before we dive into all that, if you have not heard, I am doing a giveaway for Red Dead Redemption 2. All you have to do is check the link in the description to enter and just be an active subscriber. Also, make sure to get geared up for this upcoming Western by getting the popular Red Moon or Wanted t-shirt designs. If you're interested in getting these Red Dead themed t-shirts or any of the other designs, there will be a link in the description as well. Now, based on some massive leaked information that came the other day in which I broke down, missed that video, check it out, but it appears that Red Dead Redemption 2 will take place sometime after 1895, but obviously before 1906 when John Marston was left for dead in a failed robbery. Now, with this game taking place before 1906, we will not see the Bureau of Investigations, which, if you did not know, Red Dead Redemption's main antagonist, Edgar Ross, was the director of. The BOI, or as it's known nowadays, the FBI, was formed in 1908, and it looks like instead of having the government after Arthur Morgan and his crew, it will be the Pinkerton Detective Agency, which was known for being the largest private law enforcement organization in the world at the height of its power. Looking at the agency's history, most of its activity took place in the late 1800s, so when Arthur says this during the trailer,
"We got lawmen in 3 different states after us. They chased us from the west, they chased us over the mountains."
he's probably referring to the Pinkertons. I will add, I still very much think Edgar Ross could be involved in Red Dead Redemption 2, serving as someone who is maybe working for the Pinkertons, or maybe someone who is a rising law enforcement officer who comes in at the end of the game. But one of the biggest questions is how will John Marston return, and I think he will be a huge part of the story. Also, quick side note, John Marston's voice actor Rob Wiedoff was found to be connected with other RDR2 voice talent in 2015, something that some of you longtime viewers may recall we discussed. But yes, John Marston is coming back. Some people thought he may not be included, but no, he is going to be in the story. Arthur Morgan was portrayed as a villain in the recent trailer, but he delivered a really interesting line in the first reveal trailer.
Listen to me. When the time comes, you gotta run and don't look back. This is over.
And this sounds like Arthur was talking to John Marston, and it also does show Arthur may not be the ass that we think he is. Rockstar is so good at purposely misleading us, and I think this is what's happening. Pretty much make it as a surprise that Arthur may be an ass, but he also has heart, which I think could make him into a well-crafted character. John and Arthur's relationship is probably going to be a major part of the story, which eventually Arthur could be the reason why John sees the light and stops believing in Dutch, bringing us to the notable 1906 failed robbery, where Dutch and the gang betrays him by leaving him for dead after being shot. But I do think Arthur will be running his own gang or posse and not a member of Dutch's gang. Even from the recent trailer, he looks like a leader of his own gang. But I also think we've seen his gang already, our first look coming within the ending scene of the first trailer. Some people thought it was online related, but so far we have the blonde woman on the far right and Arthur Morgan in the middle, both just recently being revealed. What I'm now predicting is that we will be able to choose who is in our gang or posse. Some characters may permanently be within the gang like the blonde woman, but other characters like John Marston will not be able to join as he's already a part of Dutch's gang, which I think is how maybe Landon Ricketts comes into Red Dead Redemption 2. He may only serve in a few missions, but this old-timer character seen on the game cover and the final shot of the first trailer looks way too similar to Landon Ricketts to not be him. I could certainly see him meeting Arthur and working together with his crew for a few missions, which could involve the Blackwater Massacre of 1899. But again, going back to the Red Dead Redemption 2 cover, I know a lot of people have been saying John Marston and Landon Ricketts never meet before Red Dead Redemption. And you're right, he probably never meets John Marston because John Marston is not in Arthur's crew. crew, and I think Arthur's crew does their own missions on the side, not necessarily always being involved with Dutch's gang. So with the cover of Red Dead Redemption 2, I think that's more of a collection of characters. You know, it has Arthur's crew on there and it also has Dutch's, not necessarily just a gang of 7 outlaws. But for good reason. You may ask, how does Arthur and Dutch's gang come together? And I really think Arthur may be forced into working with Dutch and his gang for whatever reason. There's been some theories that this scene with Dutch holding up someone could be Dutch stopping Arthur, which could be because of a number of reasons, but there are some clues. Arthur may need help because of the Pinkertons that are after his crew and himself, or Arthur's actions in the West Elizabeth area, like robbing banks, has caught Dutch's radar, as that would be taking money from his gang. Essentially, it seems that they would work together for some time, but remember, Dutch van der Linde's gang operated out of West Elizabeth. This is a fact. And Arthur even says his crew is on the run, wanted in 3 states. So it makes sense that Arthur unintentionally gets on Dutch's radar because of his actions. But to put all my thoughts together, what I think Red Dead Redemption 2's plot is going to entail, I think Arthur Morgan and his crew will start the game on the run from the Pinkertons and make their way into the West Elizabeth area, where after robbing a few trains and banks, Dutch will confront him and seemingly force or get Arthur to work with him. As the game progresses, we could see Dutch start to become crazy, and during this time, Arthur and John become close, in which Arthur and Dutch's actions could convince John that he needs to leave the gang for his family. But the big finale could be the infamous robbery of 1906, where Arthur and Dutch team up for one more time for a huge heist, and Dutch betrays Arthur by killing Heidi McCourt, who could be this female cowgirl here, or maybe somebody else who's connected to Arthur, and leaves John left for dead, but Arthur saves him, with the result being a few things for Arthur, such as him dying during this failed robbery saving John, him being arrested and thrown in jail, because if you looked at the leaked map, there is a jail on the map, and lastly just him vanishing, allowing us to play the rest of the game as John Marston, well, younger version of him, which could feature a side mission that sets up the events of Red Dead Redemption with, you know, Edgar Ross. Alike to Grand Theft Auto 5, I think there's a very good chance we could see some time jumps, so the game may begin in the mid to late 1890s, which at that time may include Landon Ricketts in the famous Blackwater Massacre of 1899, but as the game progresses, the years will as well, so we can see the changes that strike Dutch's gang and Arthur's crew, which could be a way to have certain characters leave and join their gangs. Eventually though, in 1906, we get to see what went wrong and led to the events that occurred during that failed robbery. Anyway gang, there's still so many questions regarding Red Dead Redemption 2, but I feel that pieces of this puzzle are starting to come together. But as usual gang, thank you for watching. Make sure to smack that like button if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2's plot and how Arthur Morgan's journey may go. But make sure to consider subscribing to stay up to date on everything Red Dead Redemption 2, and remember, outlaws to the end.